What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the WWE Fight Pit here at House Call Sports. My name is Sam HT. That is my boy Justin. And today we're going to be discussing Money in the Bank and the decisions that they've made. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre is heating up. NXT outperforming WWE. What a shocker. We got a quick word from Vivid guarantee, which means your transaction will be safe and secure, and you will get full service customer care and a rewards program around, which means and go sit vividly. Now, wow, what a weekend of professional wrestling that we got. Definitely some very questionable moves, definitely some very, hot decision making that Triple H really pulled the trigger on, Justin, and so I guess we should just get right into it, right? Yep. The Money in the Bank match, and then we'll tie in Drew McIntyre and him winning to that World Heavyweight Championship match right away. I'll get it out the way first. Wow. What a match. First of all, men's Money in the Bank. Andrade and Melo stole the show. I think they were perfect, candidates to be in this match. They definitely made the match a lot better. What about Chad Gable? He was 1000% the star of this match, doing suplexes to ladders, suplexing everything he saw. And then I think the spot of the match easily was him hanging on for dear life onto the briefcase, only for him to get completely flattened. Look, Chad Gable is an absolute gem of a professional wrestler and an even better entertainer. But enough glazing of the match, because I feel like everybody kind of forgot about it. We got to talk about the decision. Drew McIntyre, your Money in the Bank winner. Now, Justin, I'll just throw a bone at you. I throw a question to you.
Let's go.
Drew McIntyre, is he a main event talent?
Yes.
He is, right?
Yes,
it's not even a question.
100%.
He is. Okay. Let me ask you this. Jey Uso, is he a main event talent?
Yes. With how over he is with the crowd? Absolutely.
All right. Another question. LA Knight, is he a main event talent? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Chad Gable, main event?
Not right now.
Not right now.
If he continues to ascend the way that he's ascending, in another year or two, yes.
Right. Okay. And then I think with respect to Andrade and Melo, they're not exactly in that realm of being able to become champion, unfortunately. Not yet. Maybe right. Andrade, if he gets a manager, I think he could. But right now, he's kind of in a bit of a rock and a hard place. Damn good professional wrestler. I think, he's gotten better on the mic, gotten better with his English, which is good. I still think he does need a manager. And Melo's just too young. He's going to get his shine very soon.
Yeah.
But you named it 3 main eventers. Here's where I'm going with this. LA Knight right now, clearly in ties with the Logan Paul. Yep. Right? I'm kind of shocked Logan Paul didn't interfere. Felt like Logan Paul interfering would have made a lot more sense rather than just LA Knight losing. But they decided to make it like that. Jey Uso, though. And here's where I start to get a little frustrated. Jey Uso. Okay. So what are we calling him, Justin? Main event? Main event Jey Uso?
Yeah.
That's what we call him?
Yep, that's what we call him.
We got to take that name out. Because why? Why are we calling him main event? Why? He's losing.
You know constantly, why we call him main event, Jay? Because of how over he is with the crowd. We know he is a main event star. In terms of, and I have to put an asterisk toward it, in terms of how he is with the crowd. In-ring performance, I need him to develop a moveset. We've been saying this for a while. The super kicks galore can take you but so far. The spear, everybody who does the spear is either hit and miss. I feel like everybody who used to play football.
It's a nice spear. It's a nice spear. I think it's a solid spear.
Not the best spear.
No, definitely not the best.
But I see where you're coming from with this, and I have to agree with you in a certain extent, because it's like, if you're not living up to the nickname, or if WWE is not having you live up to that nickname, we should not be calling you Main Event Jay. I get where you're coming from. I do think he has it though. I do think, and I thought Money in the Bank was the perfect time to like launch him.
That's kind of where I was going with this, right? Like, and I feel like this is where I'm going to really to dig deep into this Money in the Bank briefcase, if you will. In the Triple H era, is the Money in the Bank briefcase useless? And I know that's pretty crazy to say, but hear me out. And I saw a TikToker, shout out to Nico on TikTok. I forget his exact username, but he said this, and he was mentioning how Money in the Bank right now really isn't exactly an ideal prop device for Triple H's era of booking. And how I can explain that. Do you want to know? Do you understand that the only reason Damian Priest was able to get his moment was for 2 freak accident injuries involving CM Punk and Seth Rollins to happen?
Yes.
And that was the only way to give Damian Priest his flowers.
Yep.
Okay. And that was a great moment. I think we can all agree that was a great WrestleMania moment, and I'm glad that it happened. However, if you take that moment, right, and you really move it, like really maximize it, take away the microscope for a second, look at the grand scheme of things. Damian Priest with that Money in the Bank briefcase, I promise you, it was not that good of a run. It just wasn't. Right? He was a tag team champ. He was Senor Money in the Bank, and that's great. But the truth is that there was a lot of fake cash-ins. There was a lot of, teasing it, and there wasn't enough action, right? Mm-hmm. So in order for him to get his moment, CM Punk and Seth Rollins, unfortunately, had to, they had injuries. Let's just call it what it is, injuries. That opened the door for Damian Priest, and Damian Priest has taken the ball and ran with it because he has become a lot better since becoming world champion. So it's clear the Money in the Bank prop works. However, clearly Triple H doesn't think so, because now he's using it for developing stories. Mm-hmm. The story being CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. Now, I get what the story is saying. I get what the story is. However, shout out to Santi. You are pouring gasoline on a fire that's already blazing. There is no reason to make this hotter than it needs to be, Justin. Just absolutely none. And the fact that it's this, and the fact that you use something as what is now culturally known as one of the most prestigious prop devices in the WWE's history, in its rich history, the fact that you really like kind of just threw it away to enhance a story, I just think that that's just Triple H in a nutshell. Like, that's exactly how Triple H would use it. However, I would be okay with that if you didn't have Main Event Jey Uso sitting right there, who hasn't had his moment yet. That's where my problem lies. Or, even better, Drew McIntyre doesn't even need to be in this match. Mm-hmm. A triple threat with Seth Rollins and Damian Priest solves the problem. So literally everything is fine now. Because now, guess who you could throw into that Money in the Bank match? You can throw in Finn Balor. And now the match becomes even more enticing. So I guess what I'm saying is, and then I'll hand it to you, there was another way to do this, but Triple H, it felt like Triple H just didn't want the Money in the Bank briefcase around because he's so, focused on long-term title reigns, which are good. However, the reality is some title reigns don't need to be that long. And we'll get to Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn a lot later when I say that, but I think there are title reigns that, it's okay for them to be short. It's okay for them to be transitional. I know Triple H doesn't like transitional champs, but some of them, it's okay for them to have their moment, hold the title for a couple months, and then for them to drop it. I don't think that's really there's really a problem with that, Justin.
Well, here's the thing that I see with the men's Money in the Bank match. Wow, let me just say this in my opinion on it. It was good, but it was overshadowed by the women's Money in the Bank match. That was just phenomenal.
Right.
But going into the storyline, the whole thing with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre was a case of right move, wrong timing. Because I completely understand the point of screwing over Drew McIntyre at Money in the Bank. 100% support it. It builds up this momentum that we have towards an eventual Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk match. And it also gave us an amazing post Money in the Bank moment with Drew McIntyre basically getting himself suspended by striking Adam Pearce. And for all that, I am in support of it. The timing of it was completely wrong because there were two ample opportunities that you can take to make this work, and they chose the third one, which was completely wrong. The Money in the Bank briefcase has been a very much hit and miss thing on the men's side. The women's side has been amazing because literally every woman who has cashed in Money in the Bank has won their title. Now let's see what Tiffany Stratton does. Oops, spoiler alert. But then again, it's been a couple of days. If you haven't seen it, oh well. But on the men's side, we have had our moments where wrestlers have cashed it in successfully, either by surprising their opponent when they least expect it, or planning the match and winning it fair and square. And there have been those, like I believe John Cena actually was one of those cases that did not win their cash in for Money in the Bank. And that's the beauty of it. Money in the Bank is supposed to be there to be that next step for a superstar. Kind of like what Gunther had with King of the Ring. King of the Ring has now been his launching point to being in the World Heavyweight Championship picture. And that is what the Money in the Bank is supposed to be. So I am in complete agreement with you that a Jey Uso should have won it. Throw in a Finn Balor, because now you got the storyline between Finn and Damian Priest, and then you got the split in the Judgment Day going back and forth. I got a very fun opinion on what I think is going to happen now, now that Mommy's back. But they chose to have Drew McIntyre win it, which I believe was the wrong move because I don't think he needs it. And then for him to cash it that same night in the middle of the World Heavyweight Championship match and get screwed over during the match. So theoretically, the men's Money in the Bank is over within an hour and a half? Like, we're used to seeing months of build-up for Money in the Bank, and it's all over in one day. It would have worked if it was more like a Liv Morgan who cashed it in the same night and won, but it wasn't that. It was used as fodder, as you said, to build up this CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre matchup. And that's just the part where it's like, why? But I get but here's the thing. You are absolutely right that in this Triple H, Paul Levesque era, he might not care about these things as much because he tries to develop talent in his own way and he doesn't need the props. But if you don't need the props, get rid of the match. Don't have us feed us this. I just spent the last 2 hours watching it, rewatching it, enjoying every second of the Money in the Bank matches just to get pissed off. But that's just my opinion on it. I do think that Paul Levesque, Triple H is going to be doing the right thing long term. It's just in this moment, I can understand why so many people are pissed off.
Yeah, and another thing is that, like, evidently, that I think what makes this worse is the fact that there was another way to do it. I feel like Exactly. Like, just screw him. Like, you could have easily given Drew McIntyre another opportunity because CM Punk screwed him, and have Seth Rollins just inserted into that match as well and make this a triple threat. Have CM Punk screw Drew McIntyre. In the process, Seth Rollins gets screwed. Damian Priest retains, and everything is clear. And then you get a Money in the Bank match where you can crown a winner.
Also, not even that. Even just have Drew in the Money in the Bank, but have CM Punk screw him over in Money in the Bank in the actual match.
Exactly. But I think what it is that CM Punk's reasoning was what CM Punk's reasoning would have been is like, why would I screw him if he doesn't have the opportunity, right? Like, why would I screw him out of the Money in the Bank match? You remember the promise that he made, right? You remember the promise that, oh, you know, I'm going to win it and I'm going to cash in, like it's going to happen, right?
Yep.
That's what was done. That's what was going to be done. And CM Punk's like, okay, if you do that, I'll be waiting for you. And that is cool. That's awesome. However, I just think that there was a superstar right there who is hot, who you could have rewarded down the line, and nobody would have had a problem with it. And I think also, like, this era of long-term booking is great, and I'm okay with it, and I love it. I do. However, the problem really lies on the fact that, yes, you could have long title reigns, but sometimes the title reign doesn't need to be that long. Not a 3-month reign is not hot potato. A 2-month reign is not hot potato. Some title reigns don't have to be that long, which is why Sami Zayn, and we can segue into this, which is why Sami Zayn should not have won Money in the Bank at Money in the Bank. I felt like Braun Breaker should have been passed the mantle. Now, this past Monday Night Raw, clearly they're building at Braun Breaker taking the title away. And that's cool. You can't have Braun Breaker lose twice. That's for sure. They want to build Braun Breaker to be a beast. Cool. Awesome. You want Sami Zayn to look like a beast? Cool. However, my problem lies, and this is the only point I really want to make about Braun and Sami, and then you could touch on your point and we can move on. You cannot build Braun Breaker to be this beast. You cannot build him up to be this beast for weeks, even months, and then have him lose clean like that against Sami. If you're going to have it, if Sami win, I'm actually okay with that. I think him being called Sammy Hogan is realistically, I think that's ridiculous. Like, he was literally losing at the beginning of this year constantly to Bronson Reed. Okay, let's be honest. It's not about that. What it's about is building a star up just for him to lose the way he loses. If he loses, if Sami Zayn survives, that's very different from him winning. Because then you can have Braun Breaker be like, you know what? You beat me. You barely survived. Have him keep that feud going. But in the back of your mind, understand, hey, Sami winning there that was a fluke. But him winning clean, it just doesn't make much sense to me, Justin.
I mean, I completely agree with you. I'm torn because I love Braun Breaker as a competitor. I love him as a talent. I think he's good on the mic. He has that intensity. He's great in the ring. I've been calling it for months, and I wanted it to happen in Money in the Bank. I wanted Chad Gable to take the title at Money in the Bank because you built Chad Gable to be this Kurt Angle-esque heel, and he was doing this out of pure rage and pure jealousy of Sami Zayn eventually beating Gunther for the title. For him to not do the ultimate disrespect and taking the title from Sami Zayn in Canada, out of all places, you dropped the ball on the ultimate way to build Gable in the heat, like to build up his heat even more. And then it would have been a great way to introduce the Wyatt Six into Money in the Bank, because he could win that and then all of a sudden have another creepy encounter with them like he had on Monday night. But we are not living in that part. We are in the present. We have Braun Breaker. And I do believe if you are really making out Braun Breaker to be as dominant as he was in NXT, he needs to get the title. He needs to not only beat Sami Zayn, he needs to destroy Sami Zayn. He needs to take Sami Zayn into the deep waters, and Sami needs to look like he's not even moving by the end of the match. That's how much it's going to have to take to rebuild what they did after Money in the Bank. Can they do that? Yes. Will they do it? Kind of, sort of. But will I be shocked to see it?
Yeah. My thing would be is that the way they built Sami is this guy who just like overcomes these forces. So I'd say you're right. However, you'd have to break his spirit, like Sami Zayn's spirit, and can Braun Breaker do that? Is my question. If Gunther couldn't do it, could Braun Breaker do it? So I really think that's why Triple H doesn't just want Sami Zayn to lose. After Sami Zayn just beat Gunther, right? Like we're talking about a guy who's been champ for 600 plus days. Okay, the longest reigning IC title reign of all time. You don't want the reign following that to be a run like fodder, right? But the truth is that if you're gonna lose to somebody, you gotta lose to somebody hot, and you gotta strike while the iron is hot. And Braun Breaker, he's already over with the crowd. One. Two, he was been built as this dominant force. And then number three, look, it's clear that he's not shy of the moment. It's clear that he's ready. He was been ready for the main roster for the longest time, if we're really looking at it. And there's no reason to be shy. I think, and this is where I'm going to get a little bold, Triple H is really scared. He's scared. Let's call it what it is. He is scared to pull the trigger on certain talent. With Jey Uso, he is over as hell. Why not give him a title? For God knows, I don't know, but they won't give him a Money in the Bank briefcase. They'll give him wins. They'll keep him over, but will they really strike with him with a title? Let's talk about LA Knight. LA Knight was the most over superstar in all of WWE. Okay, he was. And all he really got, and they rewarded him, right? They're keeping him over. And that's something that this WWE does that the prior WWE didn't do, is keep your acts over. The truth is yes, they keep their acts over. That's cool. But you also got to reward your acts. Book them as champions. If they're being over, you gotta book them to win more. And that's why I'm glad they're like booking LA Knight to win. They're booking Jey Uso to win. But I'm not just talking about wins. I'm talking about titles. And eventually LA Knight and Jey Uso. And now the next one, Braun Breaker. Now, is Braun Breaker insanely over like Jey Uso and LA Knight? No, absolutely not. But you got to be conscious about how you're booking certain people. And if you're booking Braun Breaker to be this absolute beast, this guy who's breaking people in half and spearing people, and he's getting the most entertaining segments in the entire Raw. If you're gonna do that, you got to strike. And I think SummerSlam is where they're going to strike. However, I do think Money in the Bank should have been where it started.
It should have been where it started, but okay, let me go into the mind of like a creative right here. And look, you have all these stars that we're mentioning that are like way over with the crowds. Like it's like a kennel; it's ready to blow in any moment.
Right.
And I think what they are trying to do is instead of getting everything done in such a short period of time, because we're only like really 3 months, if you count WrestleMania, like we're 3 months into this new era. So it's like you don't want to play all your cards in one shot. I think SummerSlam is the best time for Braun Breaker to win his title. I think the whole thing with LA Knight and Logan Paul is also going to happen at SummerSlam. Jey Uso is going to have the longest road because I think they are really building towards that Bloodline versus Bloodline match at Survivor Series, and they need Jey Uso for that. He needs to be one of the catalysts on the original Bloodline team. So I feel like he's going to be the one that has the longest road to getting a championship because I think that's going to happen after that match. So when it comes to everybody else, they have a much more direct, much more streamlined path than what Jey Uso has. But when it finally happens, it will blow the roof off of whatever arena they're doing it in.
Right, and I get Jey Uso being in the Bloodline story, but I genuinely think him being Money in the Bank enhances that story even more, which is why I thought they missed an opportunity. Yeah, he can be Mr. Money in the Bank or whatever they were going to call him, but he could also be involved in that storyline. It's family, after all, and him being with Cody Rhodes and him being friends, it becomes a tension that similar to what we got with Finn Balor and Damian Priest that we also love. So I think this is I understand what you're saying with Braun Breaker and with Jey Uso, and I get it. However, some cards you gotta play. Some cards you do have to play. And when you've been prolonging Jey Uso for as long as you have been doing it, it starts to get a little pretentious. It starts to get a little boring. So look, it is what it is. I'm not going to be too mad at it. I think at the
Sorry, I had to.
Look, he's so damn entertaining. I gotta say, I wish he won Money in the Bank, but it's at the end of the day, I think Triple H knows what he's doing, and by the time we get all these blow-offs, we're going to be praising him and stuff like that. There's stuff that we don't really understand with him. I just think Triple H tends to be scared sometimes of striking while the tie, and it's okay if it leads to a better blow-off, sure, but I mean, how much longer are we going to take with Jey Uso? So that's really all there is to it concerning, Money in the Bank. Congrats to Tiffany Stratton winning Money in the Bank. I think she 1000% deserved it. I do wish Chelsea Green would have gotten the dub. It felt like she was her window was right there, Justin.
No, but Chelsea Green did just build her star potential that much higher with how she was acting during the match, because she played the role of somebody that was afraid of heights so well, and to end up taking that bump into the table. Perfect. Yeah, Sky, I thought she was really broken in half, though.
I thought she was. The way she was selling that, I thought something genuinely went wrong. I thought she was having some sort of seizure. But that just goes.
Good.
I thought she was having, bro. I thought she was going absolutely I thought something terrible happened. Io's selling is just out of this world, man.
Her selling made it amazing. Zoe Stark took some bumps that I thought she had to be checked after the match. Right. I think there was one move on the ropes that she completely missed, and it looked like she just hit the back of her head on the ladder.
Right. And honestly, look, Zoe Stark was put into that match to take those bumps. That's what she was in there for. So, hey, man, you can build it. You can do that, man. I thought Dakota Kai should have gotten that spot, but if you're gonna give it to Zoe Stark and we're gonna get bumps like that, I'll take it, man. That women's match was one of the greatest of all time.
Also, shout out to Naomi for playing the Kofi Kingston-esque role where you have that one crazy highlight, because that split between two ladders and turning it into a DDT, phenomenal.
That was phenomenal. I think all the women in this, just absolutely showed out, man. It was in my opinion the best women's Money in the Bank. Actually, might be one of the best Money in the Bank matches ever. It might be top 3 in my opinion. It was that damn good.
Top 1 so far.
I really wanted to get into the Bloodline, but if I'm being honest, I think everything that needed to happen with the Bloodline kind of happened, right? I mean, Solo Sikoa pins Cody Rhodes. Like I said it would. That was like I said it was supposed to go. They listened.
Which leads into SummerSlam.
That's going to be the main event. And here comes Roman. Sometimes when it's predictable, it's still that good. Perfect. Sometimes it just doesn't need to be complicated.
But Fatu though, Jacob?
Oh yeah. You know what? Yo, we can talk about him.
We need to talk about Jacob Fatu.
No, we need to talk about him. He's a problem. Okay.
That man is literally an animal.
He is actually nuts, bro. And what I love about him is that he is essentially Umaga and Jeff Hardy. Like he did Whisper in the wind that size, doing Whisper in the Wind that makes no sense. It was phenomenal, and he was the highlight. They did such a good job making sure in this debut match, even in a tag team match, was an absolute banger. He was the star of the match 1000%. He outshined Solo. He did. I don't care what anybody says. I know Solo's supposed to be the head of the table. Jacob Fatu. That man, Jacob Fatu, that's an enforcer right there, man. And like, what a performance.
Jacob is to Solo what Solo was supposed to be to Roman. It's just Jacob really looks that intimidating.
Right. Exactly. He does. Well, Solo looked intimidating at first too, but it just...
Yeah, but you're standing next to Roman, who's like 6'4", 6'5", like taller than you, looks bigger than you in terms of muscle. And then you're next to Jacob, who looks like the reincarnation of Umaga, really meets Braun Strowman in terms of size. Right. And then you add in Jeff Hardy's athleticism, because...
That's ridiculous, bro.
You knew he was going to be a monster the second that Randy Orton hit him with that DDT on the ropes, and he just popped back up like nothing happened.
The best thing about that was that he sold it. He did sell it. It wasn't like he took it and then came back up. He hit his head. He's like, that shit didn't even hurt. And he got up. He's like, what's up? He wanted smoke. And then the camera work was just so good. It showed Randy Orton getting ready for the RKO, just for him to look up at an absolute Samoan werewolf, if you will. And man, man, he has to have a match at SummerSlam. I think he needs. Unfortunately, I don't think Kevin Owens is going to be there. I don't think he's going to be there since he's going to be with his mom. So prayers up to Kevin Owens' mom and to Kevin Owens himself. But I would have loved to see Kevin Owens versus Jacob Fatu in a street fight of some sort, man. That would have been
that's exactly what I was thinking. Like
I think no like and have him debut his in a singles match and really show what he can do, man. And he's involved already in the hottest storyline in professional wrestling. That is the Bloodline. So
yep,
man. That was just go ahead. Go. No, you go.
Yeah. But before we stop talking about Money in the Bank, we will have to point out the two big botches.
Oh yeah, let's do it. All right, let's do it.
One, the missed 3 count during the World Heavyweight Championship match.
A ref mistake.
Big one.
That was terrible.
The ref's mistake. That was the worst thing. And from what I heard, that's because the music was supposed to go off earlier, and it didn't. And 2. Who was the one in the Bloodline that wasn't in the match? He was just on the side.
Oh, the fact that you don't know his name says a lot.
Says so much, right?
Tonga Loa, low blow. And he missed it. One of the easiest spots in professional wrestling, and he couldn't even do that right.
Oh my God. For the very few people that don't understand a low blow in professional wrestling, you need to hit him in the groin with this part of your arm, which means it's virtually impossible to miss because you're basically your whole arm up there.
Right.
And he really found the way to miss. I've never seen that happen.
Okay. In his defense,
oh please.
Apparently he was concussed when Cody Rhodes hit him with that suicide dive, and I get it. And by the way, that hot tag was just absolutely amazing from Cody Rhodes. But how do you concuss yourself that bad? Like, why do you sell it to the point where you could concuss yourself? Why do you hit yourself in the back of Look, man, Tonga Loa has been involved in 2 botches at Backlash when he was supposed to pull the ref out and he messed up. at Money in the Bank now when he was supposed to hit him with a low blow. So let's not ask Tongaloa to involve anything with interference because he's not going to do it well. He isn't.
No,
so just put him in matches, put him wherever you need him to be, but just don't put him to interfere. Okay, he's gonna miss his spot. He is. It's so unfortunate. With concerning the 3 count, look, I'll put it to you like this. There's a way you could book around it. It was a clear mistake. However, I will say, pretty damn funny. Like, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. It was the dumbest thing. But my question is, was Damian Priest knocked out? He looked knocked out. He didn't look like he didn't look like he was in there, like, at all. But it would have made more sense for Damian Priest to get knocked out, to kick out there, than for Drew McIntyre's music to hit, in my opinion. If he kicks out, they're both exhausted, in comes Drew McIntyre to cash in. Perfect time. I think Damian Priest should have, like, the plan should have been have him kick out.
It should have been, but then again, we've been saying things that should have been happening all Money in the Bank, and they haven't happened. It's too late. It's already recorded. It's on Peacock for anybody to watch live, in person, in stereo. So unfortunately, we can't Monday morning quarterback it. I think I like what they did on Monday Night Raw. They just put it up as a referee's mistake. Yeah, just do that. I think doing that is better than just acting like it didn't happen, because quite frankly, you saying a ref made a mistake in that match, it happened. Refs make mistakes in all sports. So you saying, hey man, it happened. It did. So I mean, I think that botch just made that match in general just like kind of go all the way down. Yeah. But man, it was a mess. It really was a mess. But we can move on from Money in the Bank and talk about a PLE that ended up surpassing Money in the Bank in every way possible. The amazing NXT Heatwave getting some love here at House Call. Real quick, some of the highlights in this PLE. First of all, Obafemi versus Wesley to open. Wow. You want to talk about like a perfect dynamic between size and speed, strength and quickness. That's how you book a David versus Goliath match. Now, granted, I think Obafemi was getting tired because he was starting to like get a little like winded from catching Wesley. Yep. From like, it was getting a little sloppy till the end, I will say. However, I think the good heavily outweighs the bad. What did Wesley perform? A frog splash? Obafemi caught him by his throat and literally stood up, and bro, that F5, he launched him so high up in the air. Wesley, bro, Justin, this match caught him. Talk about starting a PLE with a banger.
Right.
Like you really thought you saw a match of the night just right there. And let's be honest, Wesley cannot put up a bad match. The way he is as a competitor, he just makes everybody look great because of his pure athleticism. Obafemi, and I said this from the time that Obafemi debuted in NXT, he is going to be a problem in NXT because the man has strength. He is intimidating as hell. And oh yeah, he has the whole crowd behind him. You would think that he just came straight out of Wakanda, because if you see the way that the whole crowd is with him, it reminds me of when you was watching Black Panther and watching all the tribes get together. He has them by the palm of his hand. And when you have the crowd behind you, especially in a developmental program like NXT, you are going to go places. Ask Trick Williams. That got him all the way into the NXT World Heavyweight Championship. Right. So the sky is the limit for Obafemi. He has almost everything. I need him to get a little bit better on the mic. just a bit. Like, big guys don't really need to be that great on the mic, but I need you to at least be decent on it. And then from there, I need him to drop the North American Championship and go straight for the Heavyweight Championship.
Right. No, yeah. He needs to be champion NXT. And I think his mic skills, I mean, he was given a microphone and cut his first promo as NXT champ, NXT North American champ. And he was great. He honestly, the crowd, I think the crowd in NXT really helps him with the who in the middle of them. Exactly. He really has been trying to, but he also is trying to, like, you know, keep talking and really go over it. So, because in the main roster, you're not going to get those. You're not going to get all that. So he understands, if I want to make it to the next level, I got to talk over these people. Nothing against the NXT crowd. Keep doing that stuff. We followed that match with the NXT Women's North American Championship between Keilani Jordan and Sol Ruca. And coming into this match, I was like, Keilani Jordan is not it, bro. She just isn't. She's not good on the mic. However, one thing about Keilani Jordan that I cannot deny is the fact that in the ring, she is fantastic, as well as Sol Ruca. And it baffles me how the women's division in NXT is this stacked, right? And they're adding to it with Julia. They're adding to it with Stephanie Vaccaro, who they just signed as of the making of this video. They're adding to it now. So, like, it begins to, like, you begin to really think about it. And the fact that match was that good and they added to that division, right? Mind you, getting into this match, I was like, not a lot of expectations. I knew the match was going to be good. For it to be that good, I mean, these are two people who weren't even wrestling that often. The WWE Performance Center turned them into phenomenal acts in NXT, at the very least in NXT. So if the main roster doesn't work out, cool. The fact that they were able to ball in NXT like they have been is absolutely astonishing, Justin.
And you know NXT knows they got something with their women's division, because it has been so many years. I have been watching WWE programming ever since I was 5 years old. I never saw a women's mid-card championship. So you knew when they started saying we're going to have an NXT Women's North American Champion, they knew that they were just going to be stacking the deck with these Class A, 100% amazing competitors in the women's division. And Sol Ruca and Keilani Jordan are just two of the freshest. Like you said, they haven't been wrestling that long. So that tells you more about how good the Performance Center is in developing their talent before putting them out there in these matches. I, for one, wanted Sol Ruca to win, maybe because I think she has, like, the best finisher out of anybody in the women's division. But the fact that they were able to put together another banger of a match, and this is something that you're going to be hearing me say the entire time we were talking about Heatwave, because it was just banger after banger after banger, and I just can't wait to see what NXT does to continue this run, because there is a new crop of superstars coming into the program.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, it's getting better and better and better. And then you'd think that after that NXT Women's North American Championship match, we'd get, we'd slow it down a bit, which I guess I shouldn't have assumed that, because it's Nathan Frazier and Axiom. We got a tag team match that I'm like, all right, I'm not that excited for. Let me tell you something. I watch AEW. I watch AEW casually. I'm not the biggest AEW fan, but let me tell you, man, what they were doing with that match was amazing. That might be the best tag team match of the entire year. And oh my goodness, I can't stop thinking about it. So what happened? They hit a Spanish fly, right?
Yep.
Into a cover. Andre Chase steps on the man's head, breaking the pin, and does a Canadian destroyer. What? What? Huh? Like,
Yeah.
I know it's like in AEW, like, oh, we see that all the time. I think that's what makes it happening in NXT so like, oh my gosh. Like if I see that all the time in AEW, I'm like, okay, it happened again. When I see that in NXT or in the WWE product, I pop a bit because it's like they don't do this stuff. They really don't. Like they don't do this stuff. It's like storytelling. We do storytelling here, right? I watched them for the storytelling, but nah. Nathan Frazier and Axiom. Look, they've had a boring reign in terms of storylines, but they've had a phenomenal reign in terms of match quality. It has been utterly amazing. And, you could say what you want about the storylines and how they haven't been very good. That's fine. But, man, if they're putting on these great matches, keep the titles on them, man, until you find a really a proper tag team to really take it off them. So, my goodness, just...
I mean,
Justin, man.
The thing is, and I love like the high flying type of tag teams in matches because I grew up watching. Oh man, there was this one tag team that was like really great. You know what? It'll come to me eventually. But the one thing I always know about high flying tag teams is that they never get booked in good storylines. They are known for great matches, but terrible storylines. And it's just the same thing here. I love the match quality. I love Axiom and Nathan Frazier as a tag team. I've seen them when they tried to go after the Heritage Cup like a couple months back. And then they turned that and then went towards the tag team titles, which it's been a good run when it comes to that. But I think we need to take it back to a real tag team getting it. And honestly, I'm getting tired of the disrespect against Chase U. Like, they come so close every single freaking time, and they can't finish the job. And I'm getting so worried because this isn't a tag team that I think I will see on the main roster. And if I do see them on the main roster, it's primarily going to be jobbers. And I want Andre Chase to have his moment for him, for the university, after all the things that they have been through in the storylines almost getting shut down. It needs to happen. And it needs to happen before you have to break up this tag team and then put Thea Hale in the main event, because she's the only one who I think has the talent of actually competing in the main roster right now. I just don't see it with the rest of Chase U.
Well, Duke Hudson, I think, is fantastic. I think Duke Hudson's really good. He fits the WWE mold. He could talk a bit. He's big. He's strong. He's a very good in the ring. I guess my worry would be like, where would he fit by himself?
Exactly.
So that becomes a problem there. And we can like touch quickly on the women's championship match. The fact that it was the worst match of the night and it was still a damn banger was great. I love how they really sold how big of a threat Lola Vice was. She had to get hit with like 5-6 pop rocks, including one on the table. That was absolutely insane. I'm not gonna lie, Roxanne is my least favorite champion on NXT right now. She is. She does not convince me as a heel. She isn't. Not to me, and I don't think a lot of people. Her moveset as a face was so much better. Her matches as a heel still are great, but I feel like her moveset as a face were a lot better. She's not convincing me with her heel antics. Her voice is just not okay. I'm really nitpicking at her, and I don't like doing this to professional wrestlers. I really don't, because I could not like do the things that they do. However, I can't be the only one who just doesn't see when I see Roxanne's face, her facial expressions, they don't really feel like I can't take it when she's like serious. I can't take her seriously. You want me to take this cute face seriously? I can't. So I really can't. So she needs to be a face in the main roster. I genuinely think so. It's nothing against Roxanne Perez. I think for what she's doing with the title, as a heel, she's doing a solid job. I just think that she's my least favorite. There's a lot from her that I really want to really expect from her. And then with Lola Vice to me is great for obvious reasons.
Lola Vice is going to have that gold eventually. Just because of the way she is as a competitor, the way she she can be on the mic. I knew it was over when she got a spinning back fist and took it straight to the turnbuckle and
that was
to the
it.
post.
Yeah,
that's how you knew it was over. But
that was it. Yeah,
I completely understand where you're coming from when it comes to Roxanne Perez. My problem with me and Roxanne Perez is I constantly get her confused with Cora Jade a lot because they have very similar looks. But Roxanne's first run as the NXT Women's Championship, it was great because of how young she was and how early it was in her career, and the fact that she was mentored by Booker T and having all of those behind her as she climbed her way to the top of the mountain. That was great. This one, it was great going up, getting the title, where it was like, I feel I was screwed over it, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get my title back. But now that she has it, it's just been waning on me. Like, I'm not really interested in the build-ups as much as I am on the matches. Yes, she has to improve her moveset now as a heel, but she still puts on pretty damn good matches. And the fact that we are calling this one the worst match in this PLE tells you just how damn good every other match was.
I think that women's match would have been the second best match of the night in Money in the Bank. That's how good Heatwave was. I think every single match aside from that would have wiped every single match in Money in the Bank. And well, except for the women's. I think the women's match, I feel like
women's Money in the Bank took it.
That clears. That clears. I think that was the match of the weekend, in my opinion. But I mean, even still, we're about to get to the main event here. That fatal 4-way. You know what? Let's talk about it. We have a new champion, Ethan Page.
Oh fucking god!
What the heck? What a finish! That was an all-time great fatal 4-way match, an all-time great NXT title match. Javon Evans felt like a main eventer. Trick Williams, the storytelling in this match, I think, was what sold it for me. Javon Evans could have been champion 2 separate times. And yet, Trick Williams, his mentor, was the one who broke up the pin. And that, in my opinion, says so much about how NXT tries to take these little details and just like throw them in. And that the era that we're in with WWE, that this small little details, just wow, it's Trick Williams. His mentor is the one who pinned his two rivals. Think about it, with Ethan Page and Shawn Spears. So it's absolutely one of the best matches of the entire year. But the ending, Ethan Page,
that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah, wow. What a way to pull the trigger on an outsider like Ethan Page, man. And let me tell you, there was a lot of talk about Ethan Page coming to WWE.
Yep.
How he shouldn't be given the title immediately. But man, from the moment he stepped into the ring to talk, this is how you build a newcomer. Okay? You attack the champ.
Yep.
You make these demands at the general manager. Have him lose the title match. These small little things that NXT and the WWE like to do to make it make sense. And the way he won the title, it makes it look like, what the heck? He's not supposed to be champ. He didn't deserve that. But guess what? He talks the part. And I'll let you go because I know what you're about to say right here, but he's going to be a phenomenal champ.
No, you probably don't know what I'm going to say. I was actually going to say this was the best way to put the title on him.
Right.
Because not only are you putting the title on Ethan Page, you're also protecting Trick Williams.
Facts,
which is why I thought this fatal 4-way was the perfect way to do it, because Trick Williams does not have to be pinned in order to lose his title. So you pin somebody else for it in the most ridiculous way, because Trick Williams technically got the assist on that one. Because, he tricked me both of them. It just so happened that, Ethan decides he's going to lay on top of Evans.
Of Javon Evans, yeah.
And then Shawn Spears instantly becomes the most hated person in NXT because, in his words, he was, his field of view was compromised. So he just focused on taking out Trick Williams out of the ring. and didn't obviously see the ref getting down and going 1, 2, 3. That's what he said on NXT as his little excuse.
I don't buy that one at all.
I don't either.
He definitely didn't want Trick to be champ. Like anything for Trick not to be champ.
But WWE handled this match exactly how they should have in order to put the title on Ethan Page while protecting Trick.
Yeah, and I think that's inherently what I think made Ethan Page being NXT champ make sense. And I don't like using AEW and stepping on them. But I do think there needs to be a bit of a comparison when comparing Ethan Page to Sasha Banks. Now, this is no shit at AEW because Sasha Banks is damn good, okay? I want to reiterate that. I think she's going to do great things for the women's division, and I think she's going to do great things for AEW. However, the way she was handled in NXT, or not in NXT, the way she was handled in AEW the first couple of months that she was there made no sense. You're trying to make her strength has never been on the mic. She couldn't be a good mic worker. She can. But that's not her strength. So you're actively putting her weakness out there. Like just out there, just to do it. That's what you're doing. Whereas in NXT, you immediately have Ethan Page attack the champ. You immediately have Ethan Page have a title shot. You don't have him win. Have him lose. Clean. Then you get in that story, and then you build a fatal four-way. You involve Ethan Page in that. He wins it by coincidence, not his doing.
Accident.
An accident, so to speak. But he's already shown in the 5-6 weeks that he's been here, 40 days, I think was the number. He's shown he has the mic skills. He has the work rate. He has the physique. He has the presence to be a main eventer at the NXT level in 40 days, in a month, essentially 6 weeks. He found a way to do it. And I think the way AEW handled Sasha Banks, it could have been a lot better. Now, Sasha Banks right now is in a better place because she's elevating women in that division. And I like the stuff that she's doing. Mm-hmm. However, the way they initially handled that, I think could have been a lot better. No shade at AEW though. Keep doing what y'all doing. Wow. I didn't think I'd ever live to see the day. NXT. Honestly, we've seen NXT outperform WWE before, back in the NXT Black and Gold. We've seen that before. This was a reoccurring thing. However, what I will say is that I did not expect. What I will say is that we did not expect it to happen in the Triple H era. And it happened. Who would have thought? Not me, man. But I think it's a breath of fresh air. I think I like the fact that NXT is being better than WWE at times because it shows the future of the WWE. We got to understand that NXT winning means WWE is winning.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was going to tell you.
Yeah. NXT overshadowing WWE is actually a good thing. It's been a good thing. And I'll let you go ahead and elaborate on that.
No, at the end of the day, Triple H, the board over at TKO, they just want to win. And whether it's WWE winning or NXT winning, at the end of the day, they win no matter what. Because they are head and shoulders above TNA, whom they are working with. Say his name, we got Joe Hendry this week. And they're better than AEW. And they are proving it. Because we are sitting here and we're not necessarily talking about AEW. We're not talking about TNA episodes. We are talking about NXT versus WWE that is already the same company. And they are just, I am competing against myself. And no matter what, they are winning and they are okay with it.
I mean, yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna really allude to. Like this has to be seen as a win for WWE. That Money in the Bank, which you could argue was their worst PLE of the year, we got to understand that the worst PLE of the year this year would have been the best PLE of the year back in 2019. That is how bad it was back then. Hell, in 21 rather. So I think when you put that into perspective, you're okay with some of the gambles that Triple H likes to make. So look, if NXT is going to be this hot continuously, who cares if they keep beating WWE in terms of like the court of public opinion, which is essentially the IWC. So like, who cares? At the end of the day, what's up?
But I care about the next PLE, because the next PLE is SummerSlam.
No, yeah, you got to make the
biggest show.
Oh yeah, you can't do that. You
cannot mess up.
I better see 7 matches on this card. I better see 7 title matches on this card. I want to see
I better just see 1 tribal chief.
I better. Okay, look, we can make the match predictions right now. I don't care. We can spend an extra 2 minutes. Look, I want to see Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk. I want to see Solo versus Cody. You already set that up.
Yep.
Damian Priest versus Gunther, already set up. Yep. I want to see the tag team champs be defended. I want to see Logan Paul versus
LA Knight.
I want to see Nia Jax versus Bayley. I want to see, what else am I missing? Oh, Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan. How could I forget?
For the custody of Dom.
For the custody of Dom, exactly. And the women's title. Okay. Yeah. This PLE better have some, 8 matches. Bro, it's SummerSlam. Stop it. Like, look, 5-match PLEs for like Backlash, for like Money in the Bank, for like these other like Queen and King of the Ring. That's cool. For SummerSlam, you better make that John Long. Pause. Okay, I want that. I want it to be at least six hours, at the very least 6 hours or 5 hours. Okay, I want barely any commercials. I want to see wrestling constantly. Okay, I know that it's asking for a lot.
I want to see the one thing that we didn't get a chance to touch on in this episode. John Cena is on his last run in WWE. I need to see a match with John Cena there.
Oh, at SummerSlam in a 4-week build? I don't think it's gonna happen. I think John Cena's gonna shoot his last film.
Even as a pre-show match, like during the pre-show, just put him in a little match right there.
A pre-show, look, pre-show and John Cena just have. It's like trying to attract a positive to positive. You can't like it just like come on now.
Well, I'm positive on one thing, and I'm calling it now. John Cena will be a 17-time champion by the time.
He better be. Yeah, I think he should. What better way to put it? I don't know if it should happen at WrestleMania. I don't think WrestleMania is the place. I do think, because there's already a main event, I would assume, set for Rock versus Cody Rhodes. So,
yep.
With that being said, man, what a weekend again of professional wrestling. We got some bad news with John Cena retiring. I'm gonna miss John Cena a lot. He was part of my childhood. But I think that he's done everything for this business, and there's really no need to ask for more from him. So I'm gonna miss John Cena. He's meant a lot for me. I'll put a more in-depth emotional rant when the time comes of his retiring. I don't want to save all my juice for just him announcing it. So with that being said, again, what a weekend of professional wrestling. A couple of weeks away from SummerSlam. We are all excited for that night. I will be there no matter what. With that being said, it has been your host, Sam, HT, and Justin. We love you guys. Please like and subscribe, comment. What do you guys think is in store for SummerSlam? Put us your match predictions, and we will see you guys next time. Peace.